Flashback.
Appreciate your coming, including but Moyare. You are a sick country. My brother came from Holland. I've been a prime minister or president. They can say Dum Kania Holland. Or tell me that you Dum Kania Holland. A deceased state. 7. Dum Kania. You can have a minister boldly defending Dum Kania.
A few moments later.
Can you do me a jaye ubia kananu kwasi adwene na ba me na adan madu ya gada and kwasi adwene na eye se adwuma no akosombo ahye ama nipa ye huru ba bia obia mbantimi angasa momia mompa ye se akosombo no ahye no enema be kama.
There's a video that is circulating all over social media. General consensus is that he's very hypocritical in that his comments were a bit brutish and very critical during the NPP government, and concerning a similar situation in the NDC government, he appears to be a bit more considerate. I can understand the outrage, clearly, because on the surface it appears that he's being hypocritical. However, you need to see things holistically as much as possible. So in principle, it's also all about power outage. However, there are certain unique things to those situations which I would argue radically change how a person would respond in either circumstance. So in the first situation, you find that the lights went out while he was ministering. And anybody who is at a conference giving a speech at a very important program, your response will be very different from a situation where the lights had gone up prior to you ministering and you had knowledge of what accounted for that. So there was a fire outbreak at the dam which resulted in the lights out, which happened before he ministered. In the other one, he was ministering when the lights went out, and it's very frustrating, like I've already indicated. So that's one way of considering the situation holistically. Another thing that you need to consider is that it is possible that he wasn't as emotionally intelligent then as he is now. Hence his different responses. So in the first one, he's very brutish. In the next one, he's more reasonable. So those are two things that those who were commenting on the issue should have considered before tagging him as being political. So you have people saying that tagging him as a political preacher essentially, because he has relatives in the present government, and so he's more considerate towards them, in contrast to the NPP government. If you look at the man's track record, in my estimation, I don't think he's in the least political. It's a very dangerous thing that people are doing, because you've discredited the man. Whoever listens to him now listens to him with caution, that, oh, this guy is political, why should I even be listening to him? And that is one issue I have a lot, with people who post blogs and these political commentators, podcasters. Get your facts straight. If the facts line up with your conclusion, that's great. If the facts don't line up, you can do your if this, if that, just throw it out. But to state it as a statement of truth or a statement of fact is a very dishonest thing that you are doing. And like I said, I don't in the least view him as a political preacher, because this is a video of him criticizing this government.
Empenyo Sane Bonkanale Empa Enware Nache. Go to 37 right now. They will tell you there are no beds. And none was ye jine. Na ye de Kristo no ayenya no esiesie hyehyɛ ye man enya wo party no fa wo party phone no eto baabi na ye nwene kwan a me ne wo ye betimi aye asase so nkyene ene wiase kania wo party ni nto ma sorry ape baabi foforo ne ko but no kure ne de eno.
Okay, so if on the basis of his comments not being as critical and as brutish, this video highlights how critical he is of the NDC government. Would that make him still political? Because at the time, his relatives that people are referencing now were in government at the time. So what this does is it reveals a deeper issue. You have people who abhor Christianity, looking for channels to vent their anger and their frustrations. And you cannot fully blame them, honestly, because church hurt is real. I'm sure people have heard that. Church hurt is real. I've been offended before, but I always keep at the back of my mind the fact that salvation is an individual affair. It's me and God. Whatever anybody does is secondary. It's not really important. That's why Christianity is usually tagged as not a religion, as a relationship. So that's one way of looking at it. And it's something I've observed a lot in Ghana, where the moment somebody does something, the person in any way affiliated with the church, they become so critical of the church. Recently, a Pentecost elder was involved in Galamsey. I was watching one of these local channels, the way they ripped, their man ripped the church, all kinds of interesting comments. And so you have people who have very negative perceptions, very negative reservations, very negative experiences with the church. Just find a way to vent their anger. And so any situation that they find, they just hop on it and just say whatever they want to say. And like I said, I can relate and I can understand because I've been there before. And on behalf of everybody in the church, I just want to say we are sorry. And remember, salvation is an individual affair. So that's one group. Another group could be, it could also be that the people being critical of Prophet Kofi Oduro in this situation may not even be Christians, may not have experienced church hurt, but they just hate Christianity, hate the concept of God. So what these people do usually is that they either consciously or subconsciously sell the idea that a Christian, a servant of God, cannot speak on what they term as political issues. Now this is where the heart of the matter is. But then we need to define what they mean by political issues. Because as far as I'm concerned, an issue like Galamsey, power outages, like what is being discussed in this video, are not political issues. So is it that they mean that the issue is innately political, or the response is what makes it political? The response to the issue is what makes it political. In my estimation, is the latter, where the response to the issue is political. However, there's also a group that also thinks that they are actually issues that are political. But I think a deeper analysis of it could actually reveal the fact that because we politicize issues, then we believe that issues are innately political. One very unfortunate thing that the people who hop on these things, or these kinds of trends, insulting men of God, servants of God, or their takes on issues, is that they are assuming that pastors, and servants of God are too dumb to speak on such issues. And although that is not vivid in this situation, it's something that people subconsciously believe, that the pastor should not even be speaking on this issue because you're too dumb to speak on the issue. Just face your Bible. And even if you survey all the pastors in Ghana, or the servants of God in Ghana, and it's indeed statistically true that many of them are uneducated, it's still no basis to suggest they shouldn't speak on issues. Because remember, they are citizens first. I know that we say we are citizens of heaven and all of that, but we are also citizens of Ghana. They are citizens of Ghana. So Prophet Kofi Oduro had a constitutional right to speak on the issue because he is a citizen. So you are not more of a citizen than the servant of God. We are all equally citizens. So if we have established that the issues are not innately political, but they are things that affect every citizen, they must be able to speak on the issue. They should be able to voice out their opinions and their views on the issue. Based on my experience, and this is maybe an over analysis of the situation, but I've observed it's not just a Ghanaian thing, it's happening all over the world, that people hop on these things just to stir up anger against the church. They just want to make it look like the church people are even hypocritical. So why should we even listen to them? Why should we even follow their Jesus? Why should we follow their Bible? Because they are hypocritical. Like I said, it's a very shallow way of looking at things. Secondly, it also creates, that if it's not there, or it reinforces a silence culture against the church to stop us from speaking the truth. So, if a pastor speaks on an issue, they shut him down. Don't be talking. You are a pastor. You can't speak on this issue. Keep quiet. And if we don't have Christians, remember the pastor is a Christian. If we don't have Christians speaking the faith position on issues, and you allow the conversation to be driven or spearheaded or headed by people who do not have any values, it creates a problem. At the end of the day, they will end up having their way, which could potentially have negative effects on everybody. I also think that a third thing, reason why people hop on these things just to attack the church and all of that, is because they're just trying to please a group that they aspire to be in. In marketing, there's a term for it, but I forget what the term is. But there's a group that they aspire to be like, or be in, or be associated with, and those people are subscribed to the viewpoints that, people who attack Christianity, the viewpoints that they have are similar with. But I mean, generally, I think it's just a hypocritical way of looking at things that is masked in open-mindedness. I watched a podcaster. I don't even know if I should describe him as that, but like a podcaster, and his view on it, very shallow. Very, very shallow. And it stems from all the things that I've said. All it's just a display of blatant hypocrisy on the part of those lambasting Prophet Kofi Oduro, because one, you didn't consider his track record or his comments in different administrations, including the one in power now, on issues. You just picked one and then put them side by side, added some humor to it, and just started blasting him. You didn't look at that. You didn't look at his track record. You didn't look at the unique circumstances surrounding these two situations, despite the fact that they were the same in principle. And you just allow your prejudices to move you to just display your hypocrisy. Because what you are doing is clearly a self-righteous act, which is Pharisaical, in that even in the people commenting and insulting him, even in your own friend groups, you are two-faced. In your relationships with people, you are two-faced. You tell one person something, you tell the other person another, just to be a people pleaser, But beyond that, it reveals a deeper issue in that we politicize everything. And in some people's mind, they can't even define what they mean by political issues, where to some is the issue itself that is innately political, and to others is the response to the situation that is political.